about that a lot in your videos. And I mean, it is becoming very unbecoming. Let me put it that way. With the too many coup d'etats in Africa. I mean, what are some of your views as to why coup d'etat in Africa is increasing, and probably there are many more else to come from other parts of Africa?
Of course.
What are your
Yeah.
views? Why do you
The coup
think
d'etats in
there's
Africa.
a lot? Yeah, go on.
There are two types of coup d'etats in Africa. I want all Africans to be mindful to this. There are two types of coup d'etats in Africa. One is to liberate Africa. Second type of liberation in Africa is, say, colonial masters doing revolution, their own revolution by themselves, for themselves. Why I say there's two types of coup d'etats. There are some coup d'etats that happen in a countries that are for liberation, for the revolution of Africa to stand, for Africa never to be ruled by any colonial master anymore. But there are some coup d'etats that happen. They don't just happen by Africans themselves. Those coup d'etats were programmed by the West, because they know if that country make coup by themselves, then they are going to lose a much. And they do coup by themselves. The West do coup in Africa. They order the soldiers. If they know someone's a soldier who will be a small slave to them, or who will accept everything, every order from them, they will push that person to make a coup, and they will give support. If I can give you a view between,
yeah, let's deal with the coup d'etat that you said is about liberating the people from, is it from the West or from the government? Which is which? Is it liberating the people from the government or from the West?
I think it's liberating the peoples from both the government, the bad leader, and the West. Because
So
if you check it very well,
do you think there has been bad leaders, in some of these countries that do have coup d'etats quite recently? Do you
of
think it's
course, and
because
I know
of
their leaders so much. Of course, there have been bad leaders, my sister. You know, we have Niger who they made a coup. They have Bozum. Bozum was a bad leader who is aware of all the terrorist group that was created by European Union in Niger and France. Bosum was aware of all this. When you check Mali, why do they make coup? Ibrahim, who was ruling there, Ibrahim was aware of the terrorist group that is in the northern part of Mali terrorizing his own peoples. He's aware of it. It was organized by the European Union, and the European Union journalists went there and went to those terrorists, a terrorist who nobody can see them. If you see them, they kill you. But a white lady called himself as a journalist from European Union Council went to those terrorists and sit with them and chat with them in the bush and interview them and come back to Europe. So who is paying those people to kill their own people? So these are bad leaders. If you check Burkina Faso, they are bad leaders. They are facing the same thing. So this coup is to free ourselves, because these people have been crying, especially like Niger and Mali. I remember when I made a video in 2021, I said, Niger, they are in a problem, and their leader is aware of what all is happening in Niger. They are there stealing their uranium and their oil in that Sahara. They build their camp. NATO build their camp. France build their camp. EU build their military camps. Why? They don't go there to protect Niger. They don't go there to save Niger. They go there for their own selfish interest. And I made that video in 2021. So in 2021 ending, around October, I saw the Abdurrahman made a video saying that they don't have a weapons. The terrorists who are terrorizing those areas have more dangerous weapons than them. And they are talking to the president, but it's like the president is not ready to supply them with weapons. In Africa, it's only in Africa terrorists are being supplied with weapons from the West, but militaries are not getting supply from any Western country when it came to weapon. But terrorists are getting supply. Any dangerous kind of weapon, the terrorists have it. But militaries who will save people are not getting those weapons. So that's to show you that it is all planned. So that's why I say the coups in Africa are very, very important, and it is about to liberate ourselves, because today in Mali election, in Burkina Faso elections, the Westerners will not involve because they are not accepted there. So if they are not involved in any government, in affairs of any country, that
But
country
they
is
involved
safe.
in Niger. But they involved in Niger, France.
Yeah, there is something that is going on in Niger, and we need to be careful. The liberation Africans are always shouting for us. I told them, Africans, we need to be careful, because it may be a full revolution that will never happen. And if we fail this time, we can never start any revolution again. The revolution have already started, but people are discouraging. Do you know that? Do you know that some people, some militaries who made coup today are discouraging, are trying to reconcile with white people, Westerners peoples again? Do you know that's what is happening in Niger? Some militaries are backfire to themselves in Niger. That's why France will still rule Niger. They can't get themselves out because they are not ready. Not all of them are ready. Some of them have already surrendered.
My question is, in the quest for this African liberation, Africa in general, African
Mhm.
liberation, and the quest for this liberation, do you think is going to happen, considering the fact that the West they always have their way if they want to? And just like you mentioned, these are some of the examples. Currently, I even saw it on the news that some of the military in Niger, that was part of the coup, are breaking away, negotiating with the West and all of that. Do you think this African liberation will get us to where we want without us selling us?
Uh, I think there is something that we need to understand is, if the militaries are ready to comply, we are going to liberate Africa. But if they don't comply, then I swear and I'm afraid that we are going to remain in the hand of the West. We will not go nowhere. It is so bad to say this, but that's the fact. If the militaries are not giving us helping hand to liberate ourselves, I tell you today, my sister, we can't. We will talk, we may give plans, we may give ideas, we may talk about things that pass or things that will come, but we can't do nothing. Militaries have a big role to play in an African revolution or African liberation. If they don't help us, we can't.
Let me take your mind way back from the condemnation. You know, like I watch your videos all the time condemning the West. Are African countries really practicing democracy?
Man-made democracy, a group of people democracy, a group of people form a rule and give to Africa. It is not even democracy. It is a group of peoples, a rule and regulation from group of peoples who want Africa to remain wherever it is, and they give it to Africa and they call it democracy. Africans are not practicing democracy. Africans are learning how to enslave themselves and destroy themselves and extract themselves from good things and take themselves so closer to the bad things. Democracy went to Africa for who? Not for we the citizens, for the leaders. Democracy, every rule and regulation in democracy is formed to protect the puppet leader who is ready to be a slave to the West. That is called that democracy. When you see any president who accepted democracy, he accepted democracy in Africa in his own country because he want to protect himself. Because number one, when we talk about democracy, ECOWAS soldiers are defending democracy, right? But why are ECOWAS soldiers never defending any country but defending only presidents? So is democracy for you? They say democratic leaders. When we talk about African democracy, the democracy is not for the citizens. The democracy is there to protect the leaders who are ready to become puppet to the West.
So what's the role um especially when it comes to the military? What's their role in democracy?
My brother, there's no democracy. No African countries will accept democracy if Africans will listen to me. There's no democracy. The democracy is to make you become slave, make yourself slave. Nobody will force you to become slave anymore. They will not chain you. But that democracy is to chain yourself and bring yourself to me, hang yourself to me, and hang all your resources to me. That is called the democracy that they give to Africa. Why are they never emphasizing human right to Africans, my brother? They are never. Why are they not telling us to accept human right? Why are they not telling us to stand for human right? But it's only democracy because human right guide people's right. It will guide all of us our rights when they teach us how human rights should be run. But they are teaching us democracy, forgetting about human right. And the same peoples who talk about democracy, the same peoples are terrorizing you and they are telling you democracy, democracy. The same peoples are ordering your leaders to kill you when you go out for demonstrations, to maltreat you when you go out for demonstrations. And they said democracy. Where is the democracy?
So, talking about democracy, let's get to Sierra Leone. We just concluded elections, and I'm sure you are familiar with, our situation as a country and where we are today with our democracy. So, what is your view looking at the outcome? And people have been crying that their votes were not counted. And